It all started on a rainy afternoon in downtown Chicago. The kind of day where the streets glisten with puddles and the sky feels like it's pressing down on the city. Inside Rosie's Diner, small, old-fashioned eatery nestled between two towering office buildings, there was a calm buzz. Locals sat at their usual booths, coffee steaming, cutlery clinking gently. Nobody expected anything unusual, but that was the moment everything changed. John Kennedy, U.S. Senator from Louisiana, stepped inside alone, no entourage, no press. Just a long coat, a tired face, and eyes that looked like they hadn't slept in days. The hostess, clearly recognizing him, blinked in surprise but smiled politely and led him to a booth by the window. It seemed like he just wanted peace. He ordered a black coffee and a bowl of chili, keeping to himself, scrolling through his phone occasionally. But not everyone in the diner was so calm. Behind the counter, watching his every move, was the diner's manager, Was Morales, a man known for his fiery temper and fierce loyalty to his community. Luis had heard the things Senator Kennedy had said on television, the interviews, the votes, the sharp-tongued speeches. And Luis, a second-generation Mexican-American who had grown up just blocks away from Rosie's, had taken those words personally. To him, Kennedy wasn't just a politician, he represented a growing voice in Washington that Luis believed didn't speak for people like him. At first, Luis tried to stay calm. It was just a customer, he told himself. But as minutes passed, anger bubbled. The man sitting just yards away from him, sipping diner coffee, had supported policies Luis believed hurt real people, his neighbors, his family, the very folks who ate at Rosie's every day. Then came the moment that broke it. One of the waitresses, young, bright, and undocumented, came over nervously, holding a plate. "Luis," she whispered, "that man over there, is he who I think he is?" Luis glanced over. Kennedy gave a half smile, maybe sensing the tension. That was all it took. He stormed out from behind the counter, apron still on, and marched over to the booth. Everyone in the diner fell silent. Senator Luis began, his voice shaking slightly. "I'm going to have to ask you to leave." Kennedy looked up, confused. "Excuse me? You're not welcome here," Luis said firmly. "Not after everything you've stood for, not here." For a split second, it looked like Kennedy might push back. But he didn't. He nodded slowly, set down his napkin, reached into his coat for his wallet and Luis snapped. "We don't want your money," he barked. "We're not for sale." The room was frozen. Phones were out, people were filming, whispering. Kennedy stood, calm but visibly shaken. As he walked toward the door, he paused. Then he turned around. "I didn't come here to make a scene," he said, his voice low but clear. "But I hear you." Luis said nothing, his jaw clenched. Kennedy left without another word. What happened next is what turned this into more than just a headline. The video went viral within hours. Social media exploded. Comment sections flooded with opinions, some calling Luis a hero, others calling him disrespectful. But the real story began 2 days later, when something entirely unexpected happened. John Kennedy returned. This time, the diner was full, again but tense. People stopped eating when he entered. He was accompanied by just one person, a young woman with a notepad. He asked to speak to Luis, and waited quietly near the front door. Luis came out, guarded. "You're back." "I am," Kennedy said. "I thought a lot about what happened, and I realized, maybe you were right to throw me out." Luis raised an eyebrow. "I don't agree with everything you said," Kennedy continued. "But I can't say I've ever sat down with someone like you and just listened. I'm here to do that now." A long silence followed. And then, unbelievably, Luis nodded. The two sat in the back booth for nearly 2 hours. No press, no cameras, just conversation. They talked about immigration, about Chicago, about community, and struggle, and dignity. Kennedy asked questions. Luis answered, honestly and emotionally. He told stories about his mother, about growing up in a neighborhood full of hope and hardship, about what it feels like to be ignored, again and again, by the people who make the rules. And Kennedy listened. Truly listened. That conversation didn't change the world overnight. It didn't rewrite any laws. But something real happened that day. Not a debate, not a soundbite, just two men from different worlds who decided to sit down, face to face, and talk. In the weeks that followed, Kennedy referenced that conversation in a Senate floor speech, acknowledging that leaders need to do a better job of hearing voices from communities they don't often visit. He didn't suddenly flip parties or renounce his positions, but he began visiting more diners, more neighborhoods, more people who felt like they'd never been heard. And Rosie's, it became more than a diner. It became a symbol of confrontation. Yes, but also of connection. Of what can happen when anger leads not to violence, but to dialogue. The message: sometimes it takes someone being thrown out to be let in. Sometimes the most powerful changes begin not in Washington, but in a small booth by a rainy window in Chicago. And sometimes the most radical thing we can do is listen.